All right, guys, how's it going? I'm Connor Ferguson here with Eric Bridger. I didn't do my normal "What's up, guys?" We're already off to a different start. We're gonna have David Gravel on this episode a little bit later, talking about being a villain in sprint car racing and everything that has gone along with it and kind of come along with it, especially with how he framed it when we were at Knoxville, which I'm really excited to chop it up with him and get into all that. We got Knoxville Late Model Nationals, a little recap from that. Dason Pursley made some history this weekend. Pretty good week. Sorry, as well for Rico. And we'll get into all of it. I'm a bit under the weather, so if my voice sounds bad, I apologize to the commenters on YouTube that I'm sure are going to let me know when this video gets posted. So real quick, we're brought to you today by Chris Weiser and the Weiser companies. They hopped on board with us during the Knoxville Nationals. It's our biggest 10 days of the year, and they made it a spectacular 10 days. So big shout out to Chris, and a lot of exciting stuff in the works coming with that as well. So without further ado, Eric, tough one for your Illinois football guys on Saturday. Sorry to lead with that.
Yeah, it's all right. I don't know why I've had this shirt and hat on. It's acts like I won the game, except our team got took into the woodshed and destroyed into a million pieces. And yeah, tough one. I mean, it was bound to happen. I don't think they were going to win that game, but I don't think they were going to take the loss that bad. But it is what it is, I guess. I should have went to the late model nationals instead of watch my team get destroyed.
I tried to peer pressure you into it a little bit. I should have tried harder, I guess.
Yeah.
No, I did. And hello to you too, Josh. Thank you for the comment. And you guys leave your questions, any comments you got along the way. Even for David, I won't ask David bad questions, but if you leave good ones for him, I'll steal them and I'll give you credit. So, no, Eric, I did ask Brandon Shepard if he'd make Illini shirts again. I had two questions for you.
Yeah.
Were you suffice with his answer, and also, how do you feel about him not really being a college sports fan at all?
I was a little surprised. I'm guessing now that he says that, I think he was using the Illini 100 used to use that logo for like their event shirts and sweatshirts and all that. So he must have used the background of that. I thought he was an Illinois fan because of that, but maybe he is. Maybe he's just not a very big one. I don't know. But yeah, I was very surprised by the answer. I kind of put Connor in a tough spot, thinking he was an Illinois fan, but
yeah. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and
yeah,
you sold shirts with a college's logo.
I know. So I figured he was a fan.
Right?
Yeah, I figured he was a fan, but maybe he just he's got a busy schedule. Those late model guys, they seem like they go 12 months of the year. They don't have an off weekend. So I mean, I don't blame them for not having time to go to a football, basketball game. So. But hopefully it makes another shirt of that, in a couple of years or something like that, or some type of design. So I think that sold very well, and I don't know, maybe he's a little concerned about the trademark.
Yeah, the thought is at least in his head. I didn't get to ask him about like the trademark and stuff. I still have a lot of questions on that because you see it in late models and you don't see it in sprint cars a ton. And then of course Fiedler's talked about this a lot. The hauler situation, that all the late model haulers are not wrapped. Sprint car haulers are wrapped, and there's like a big discrepancy in like how much money you save, not like making it an unwrapped hauler that says for like non-commercial use. But none of the sprint car teams do it, so I don't. And the ones that do it, it's not like they're saving money. They just don't have a huge sponsor that's paying a ton to wrap a hauler.
Yeah, it seems like the late model guys really sell their haulers like pretty quick. Like I've seen a lot of guys like have like 2 or 3 year old haulers, and then they're selling because they're getting like a 2026 or 2027 hauler. So, but I also seen guys that like hold on to them for a long time and just do upgrades. So I'm sure each team has their different ways of doing it. I don't know if they have like a lease or something like that, or if they finance it and then they're just buying a new one and spending $100,000 more or $150,000 more to get a new one. But it is interesting. They don't wrap them, and I don't know if this is because it's hard with the design. I mean, I guess Ryan Tibbs a couple years ago when he ran the 5 family car, he wrapped his because he had a similar hauler to the late model guys, and that was kind of badass. But I don't know. Maybe it's just because late model guys seem like they change everything either between chassis, cars, shocks, or engines or drivers every week. Maybe they don't want to wrap their haulers, which I get.
Yeah, and the weird thing was we're looking for an RV for Always Race Day, and I was told like don't buy anything that was made after 2020 because it's all cheaper stuff. But haulers, I suppose, would be on a different industry almost. I don't know. We're getting way too in the weeds with this. Let's talk about some race car stuff. Interesting. So I'll do my homework and I'll make sure I put this in the YouTube description, or just go to our YouTube page and you'll find it. But Hudson O'Neal won the Knoxville Late Model Nationals over the weekend. We'll talk about the race in a second, but we did infield beers with Hudson afterwards, and I talked to him about when he was getting some booze and kind of being a villain in late model racing. And he said he didn't like that. He said he prefers, if you're a wrestling fan, he wants to be the baby face. He doesn't want to be the heel. He wants no part in being the heel. In a very candid answer at that, and I encourage all you guys to go in and watch it. But it was really interesting to me because when Hudson was getting those boos, like he just quit racing for a team and went and raced for a different team. There was nothing Hudson did, at least that I heard about. And I don't know if there's like a behind the scenes of how bad it went or something like that, but Hudson just went to a different team and all of a sudden was like one of the most hated guys in the sport for absolutely no reason. Nothing came out of his mouth. It just happened that way. I don't know. Did you notice that when it was going on, Eric?
I don't know. I don't really follow late models too much.
It was like middle of the summer last year.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a lot of hate towards him or him being the villain. So I don't know. I guess if you say one thing or people just don't like you in general, it's hard to not have the villain role per se.
It's really fun. I told his fiance this the first time I talked to him. I was like, this is a likable guy. Like, I know anytime I'm going to come and chop it up with this guy after the race, it's going to be good. Like, you can kind of tell that with about 80% of the people. I'll miss some. I'll definitely get some wrong sometimes. But yeah, it's easy to see like how personable Hudson is. And a lot of those guys are super nice. It was a really fun weekend in Knoxville. I hope you guys come down, more sprint car people come down next year, because it is always a blast. And I thought the racing on Friday and Saturday was really good. We'll talk event in a second, but Hudson got out to the lead there late, and he put 9 seconds on the field, and I thought Hudson was just artistic, frankly, running the bottom of the racetrack. It looked just about as good as I've seen anyone hit the bottom this year there. And it was in a late model, not a sprint car. I think it says a lot, but the last 20 laps, I think he got to a 9-second lead at one point.
Yeah. Looked like I heard rumblings that Knoxville was maybe changing up the berm on the inside of the racetrack.
They did knock it down.
They did knock it down a little bit. Yeah. So I think they were trying to make it an effort, because I know last year that was a big complaint about how tall the berm was and no one can get their left front fender or left front tire up there. So I think that helped with the racing. It just, unfortunately, the weather didn't work out Thursday pretty much all weekend. Yeah, I mean, he definitely had the rope around the bottom and was looking like a young Danny Wazowski or Donnie Schatz Nationals or something like that.
Yeah, and I thought the way he got there was interesting, but the flip on Thursday, he cleared the white fence. Is that what you'd call it? Because there's the big fence coming up on top of it, the little chicken wire thing with the
extension.
The extension of it, and there's a hole in it. We pulled up, and my dad asked me about it, and I was like, I don't think that's Hudson's. And I come to find out, Hudson's car got that high, which is absolutely nuts. Yeah,
I mean, it takes a lot for a sprint car to get up that high, but for a late model, I don't know how much they weigh, but it's a lot more than a sprint car, and that's getting up there pretty high. But that was a pretty vicious wreck, and good to see he was okay. And it sucks to see the car get most of the damage, but at least it was, it did its job what it's supposed to.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I had I guess we'll talk this part of it now, but I talked to Jason Reed afterwards, as well as Dustin DeMoss. And Dustin DeMoss Jason's the GM of Knoxville Raceway. Dustin DeMoss is the president of Knoxville Raceway and the Marion County Fair Board. And I've heard, and I told Dustin this the other day, I've heard horror stories about other tracks with fair boards involved and them not being supportive of racing. And I'm not sure. I didn't ask Dustin if I could say this, but I don't think he'll have an issue. But he was talking to me after the race and said that he went up to Jonathan Davenport afterwards and just introduced himself and told him, like, anything that you have to say about the track, I want to hear it in a positive way. He wasn't grilling him, but he was asking him for advice and tips and, whatever feedback they could get, because they care about this. They both want to make this a big event weekend. And there's room to grow for the Knoxville Late Model Nationals. But as far as like what Knoxville can do, I think they put on a great show. I think more sprint car people should get out there because there's some awesome characters for one in the pits. Like watching Devin Moran interact with little kids was absolutely hilarious. He'd run up to him like it was his long lost friend that he hasn't seen in 20 years and just treat him like a king. And just such nice people all around, and they really want to make it a big event. So if you can support it and you're wanting to, get out there next year because they're trying their asses off. I promise you guys.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing that Jason Reed does is I think he really cares about the race fans. I think it was a good move to make him GM. I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. It might be longer, but for example, High Limit really wants to do a race in August, is what I've heard before. And I think for looking out for the race fans, I think Jason just kind of told them it's just not possible because of, they don't want to overlap the nationals because people are already spending enough money as is already to either attend the 360, Cappy, Oski, and all of that stuff, plus the 410 nationals. So, definitely looking out for the race fans and really putting the whole fair board, it seems like, too, not just him, but they definitely seem to have the best interest for the race fans and the drivers as well, too, because you need both to have a successful racetrack and race show.
Yeah, and for a bit there, we had a damn IndyCar race in late July that we don't have to have now, I guess. Not have to have. I love that event. I'm pissed at what it turned into. But no, the whole weekend was really good and, filled with people who care. And I think that's the key to running a good racetrack. Oh, I forgot to do my photos. But yeah, there's Hudson winning after the race. Yeah. There you go. That is Hudson.
$75,000. Not bad for a payday.
That too. I did want to bring that up because it wasn't talked about all weekend. That the $75,000 is like one of their bigger races. A lot of those late model races have kind of fluttered around 50, 53,000 to win, and the purses haven't really gone up a ton in late model racing, especially if you compare it just directly to sprint cars and, more so start money. Really on the late model side, start money is really hard to come by. Even for crown jewel races, it's really difficult. I think the Dream, I don't know. I looked up the World, I think paid $6,000 to start. And I don't want to get it confused with the Dream because I think the Dream might pay less, but start money just isn't easy to come by. And if you're not one of those top 10 guys in the sport, and Brandon Overton did a great interview about this, he was on top of the world and thought he would just be there, and trying to get back to the top is one of the hardest things to do, especially in late model racing. I think the sport's super deep right now. And, just if you're not first, second, third, it's hard to come by, at least reward money. So hopefully you have a good long list of sponsors, because otherwise it's tough sledding on the late model side. Let's go another track that is new to some schedules, or should be new to some schedules. Former NASCAR racer Matt Tifft took over Mansfield Speedway, and I didn't really know where they would go putting dirt on it, but they are in our circle, I guess, with National Tour late model racing next year with the World of Outlaws coming, and $5,700 to start that race on Saturday night. I wanted to spotlight them. They're reviving a racetrack, number one, already a tough thing to do. And I didn't know how aggressive they would be at getting national tours on their slate for next year. It being your first year and you're trying to figure some things out. I think it's great that they are on the slate for a national series, and obviously it works, but obviously it has been in the works. But I wanted to see, where Matt Tiff was going to go with it, and to put on a race that's going to pay 57 grand and 5,700 to start in your first year not only shows that you're confident in what you're doing, but exactly what your I guess market is with late model drivers, and where you need to add money to the purse. 5,700. I mean, that just proves that they are a racer's racetrack right off the bat, and I think it's going to get more cars there than what would have been if it was a 1,000 to start.
Yeah, it's definitely a tall task because that track's been sitting empty for a very long time, and I think the transition has been dirt to asphalt, then back to dirt, and maybe back to asphalt one more time. I can't remember, and then pretty much set empty. I remember they had that big sprint kart race that paid like 100 grand or something like that. But after that pretty much fell apart. I think they had a big late model race too. But yeah, I always remembered growing up watching the last like truck race. Well, we didn't know it was the last truck race, but it was at that racetrack, and that was pretty cool to see because that was a pretty cool race to watch and a very fun racetrack to look like. So kudos to Matt. I know he's had some issues of getting back behind the wheel with NASCAR, and it looks like this is a alternate route for him to still be in racing and make something come back to life, which is pretty cool to see. Yeah, and plus paying a lot of money for a late model race. Hopefully they don't claim this as another crown jewel again because they got enough already.
Yeah, absolutely. What was the truck race? Was it dirt trucks or what?
No, it was NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series when the racetrack was still asphalt.
Oh, okay.
It was like a last lap battle between like 3 or 4 drivers. It was a pretty. I'll have to send you the YouTube highlights. But I just remember watching it live, and you see the clips sometimes come up on Twitter, X, or YouTube. So yeah, I just remember that's just a memory I've always stuck with. So
I had no idea. I've been hit in the head so many times. I know I use that line way too much, but I don't remember seeing any clips of it, but I probably have and have just memory hold them for one reason or another. So
it's also probably about 15 to 20 years old. So
yeah, no, I wasn't too old, and it depends on which history account I was following on Twitter that day that was popping up in my feed. Real quick, I want to do this in 2 minutes. I'm giving myself a 2-minute timeout. Did you see anything from the Super Motocross race over the weekend?
I think I saw the Deegan kid trying to take out another racer.
So
intentionally, and they hit him in the ass. So
yeah, I'll break it down a little bit, but I don't seek this stuff out. I don't go. I was looking for on Saturday, obviously, a lot of race results. It wasn't the only thing I was looking at. By Sunday morning, the only tweets on the For You algorithm on Twitter were all this Super Motocross race. So, and it was the support class. It was their minor league, their AAA tour.
250s.
So Hayden Deegan, Brian Deegan's son, Metal Militia guy. They used to have a monster truck. That's at least where I know him from. He's done trophy trucks, a ton of action sports type of stuff. So his kid's kind of this loudmouth, in the nicest way possible, because he is entertaining at the very, very least. At the end of the day, he's entertaining as hell. But loudmouth, arrogant kid, excuse me, that he was down by 10 points entering the last race of the Super Motocross playoffs. So they're at the drag strip at Las Vegas. They made a really badass looking racetrack that was super unique, something I've never seen before with the dirt bikes. And he was asked before the race how he was going to race Joe Shimoda, he was trailing in the points. And he's like, I'm going to race everybody super nice, super clean. And he was very sarcastic in saying it, like, I'm going to take this guy out. And the race goes, and he there's 2 races. I'm not sure what he did in the first run, but the second race, there's 4 or 5 times he tried to take this kid out. And the kids, I don't want to assume he's Japanese. I guess I technically just did. I think he's from Japan. He's from overseas. I know that. And he had some fun comments after the race, but he's sitting there trying to look for him, or like over his shoulder, literally, and defend against these moves. And on one of them, Deegan really goes in hard to try and take him out. hits the ground and breaks his collarbone. And now he's out of it's like the motocross Olympics, and they put all the riders on their home countries and they race. And so he screwed himself for that, screwed Team USA for that. And everybody now hates the kid that he's done this multiple times. He took out his teammate on the last lap, last turn past. The only reason he won the championship was because he sent his teammate over the hill so hard that the guy finished 5th instead of 2nd. And now he's finally getting the criticism that you would get in other series if all you did was try to take out other guys. I just thought it was super interesting because the kid's an enigma, and the kid in the 450s, Jet Lawrence, that has come on the scene the last few years. He's the most impressive dude I've ever seen on a dirt bike. I can't wait to see what Jet does to Hayden if he ever tries to do something to him.
Yeah, I don't really have too much to say about it. I mean, you kind of broke it down pretty well, but I know there's been a lot of issues with Mr. Deegan and in the 250s, and I don't know, is he old enough to race 450s or no? I don't know why he doesn't move up to 450s.
I think you're always old enough. I think either that or you have to be, because he could have raced this year and he just didn't. Because
he didn't win like the winter. I guess you want to say the arena cross. Like, didn't he win like 15 of the 18 races or whatever it was? Didn't he dominate?
No, I think it was 250 motocross, either this year or last year. Yeah, he won.
Yeah, but I'm talking like the winter ones, like where they race like indoors and all that, like that.
I don't know. So a lot of the main guys don't do arena cross anymore.
Gotcha.
So that was how Carmichael came up, and then they were trying to bring it back, but it's gone under so many different sponsorships and names. I don't know if it's even kicking still.
Yeah, I got you.
All right, so Saturday night, some open wheel stuff. Actually, I think the last couple things we got to get to. Dason Pursley makes history at the Four Crown Nationals, becoming the 4th driver to win 3 of the 4 features. He was trying to go for the sweep, didn't quite get there, but joins Jack Hewitt, Kyle Larson, and Logan Seavey as the 4 guys now that have been able to capture 3 out of the 4 A-main races. How impressive is this to you, Eric? I think it gets overlooked being in the fall.
I think the more impressive part is there's a midget, the USAC and the sprint car and the Silver Crown. They're paying $15,000 to win. I mean, that's a pretty good payday. I didn't know they paid that much money for the 4 Crown races, especially for a midget. That might be that used to be more than what the Chili Bowl paid.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's right there.
Yeah, I know. Now the Chili Bowl pays like 25 or 20, but I mean that's impressive. I mean, for just having that many fast cars and having the luck, I guess, because sometimes you need luck in racing, especially in one night, to win all these races. I mean, that's special. It's not a bad night to take on 3 trophies. I mean, I'm pretty sure he would like to get the 4th one, but I think he had a pretty good shot. It's just that Rico and AAA Ron was a little bit faster than he was. So,
yeah, and it came down to Rico and that last lap pass, and we'll get into it. But I don't know how much people know. Like, it's that USAC, those national tour races are national tour races. Like, it's an insane feat, and there's not a better weekend to put 4 Crown Nationals on. But even Logan Seavey's, I barely remember, just because it was during football season. I had a different job at the time, so I was a bit preoccupied. But hopefully, more people. This gets him some more street cred, I suppose. He's up for High Limit Most Improved Driver, right?
I would imagine so. Between him and Thorson, it's probably a tight points battle for that.
It's not Thorson because it's somebody else, I think.
It's not Randall.
Yeah, I don't think it's Randall. Let me see if I can find that post from High Limit. It's going to be tough. Yeah,
it's a very interesting award to give out in money, but it's also very creative, I think, in their opinions of having them out there.
Yeah, and at least it's like a measurable, because they just take your first half of the season average finish.
Yeah. Well, so that you're racing for extra cash. I mean, your points position might be already determined by now. He might be 8th or 7th in points, wherever that's at. So now you have to give you a incentive to race for something at the end of the year.
Yeah, and do you guys need incentives? I say you guys, you were a racer. Do you need incentives to try to win a race?
Doesn't hurt, especially if you've had a bad year. I mean, if you told me when I was racing 360s, like, hey, you could finish 16th in points, we'll give you an extra $3,000. That's, something you want to try to get for.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially for those guys that are making it for a living. I mean, we're just a family team. So,
well, you guys it's just the raw and the deal where 360s is out. And it sucks because Knoxville has the best 360 setup in the nation as far as a local racer goes. Would you agree with that?
I would say so. It just
360 class in Knoxville, and it's still really hard.
Years it's still pretty tough. I mean, it's probably tougher than it was now. But if we did it 2 or 3 years ago, there probably would have been 20 cars, and when we first stepped into it, there was like 35 to 30 on average a night. And I think there was 2 times you didn't have a B main. So, and they were an average night was probably 35, and then when you get closer to nationals, you're having like 50 cars. So.
Yeah, it's insanely difficult at the same time, like you said, and it just sucks. Someday we'll get you back in a Pace Pro at least, or I don't think I got to stop saying that because I'm just going to call them 305s. Knoxville, I apologize. I'm not calling them Pro Sprints. That's too confusing for the casual fan. They're 305s now. If you want me to call them 310s, that's better. Okay, 308s. You guys tell me.
358s, whatever you like. Outdo PA.
Oh, 358s is the worst. 350. I saw the first time I saw 358s. I think I texted Chris Williams. I'm pretty sure. I think I said, if you're racing a 358, why the fuck won't you just go and find a 360?
Well, that and the fact they used to run the small wings for the longest time too. I think they finally switched to bigger wings. So
they ran like different body styles for it.
They ran smaller wings. It was like I can't remember what the footage was, but it was definitely smaller.
That's absolutely.
I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I don't watch too much 358 racing in PA.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's like one part of the country that does it.
Yeah.
Don't get me started with that. That is just nuts. I don't think I'm gonna find this.
No, I think it's.
I would have been better off. Here we go. I'm just high level points, and I'll deduce in my head. I'll figure it out. Sometimes if I see their name. Thorson, Reitzel, Dason Pursley. Was it Brenham Crouch? Silence. It was Silence for sure.
Oh, okay.
So for some reason, yeah. Tanner Thorson did too well too early, I think, to win Most Improved.
Okay. That he did have a couple good runs early in the season. Now you say that. So
yeah, and I remember him doing that. It's just when I think Most Improved, like I feel like at the start of the year there was no chance in hell he was going to win a race.
Right.
And I say that with the most respect. But as it's gone, he has grown into a contender, a top 5 points finisher on this tour, and someone that like next season I'm going to be watching very closely to see where it comes out and see how he does.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see because I mean, if what teams decide they want to switch or not do high limit or one goes to the Outlaws, I don't know. I mean, I don't see Forsen really doing an outlaw schedule because there's seem to be a smaller team. So, but yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens next year if he decides to stick with it, which I think he is. Like he's trying really hard to make the wing deal work from all his non-wing background.
Yeah, and at the same time, you have I think the charter's going into effect and the purse is going to grow. And
yeah, you'd think that'd be set in stone yet. That seems to be a very wishy-washy thing right now. I don't know. Maybe it is set in stone.
Well, I'll do my best to get Brad on here, like very not early, as close to the end of the season afterwards as I can. And I'll tell him we're going to talk about it. I've tried to get Matt Tift on here as well. So if you guys, anyone knows Matt Tift, reach out to him, tell him to check his Twitter DMs.
Seems to be a busy guy. He seems to be at the racetrack every day.
If you're doing a $5,700 start late model race, I don't blame you for working every day until then.
And plus, you have winter months coming up too. I mean, I know it doesn't get that. It gets cold in Ohio sometimes, but you still have winter to deal with. So,
absolutely. Rico extends his points lead, now up 72 on Brad Sweet. I'm trying to find owner's points, and I'm terrible at navigating websites, but
Rico should be still ahead on this point. I mean,
28 ahead over the RSR 83, and that's going to be a tight battle coming down.
Yeah, you don't want to count out Brad yet, but I mean, pretty much it's down to the RSR 87 and Rico's 24. So I mean, that's going to be an interesting battle. Usually, don't get this in sprint car racing this close. So, and it's going to be kind of weird too because it's going to be the first time Brad Sweet has not won a championship in 6 years. So that's at least is looking like it. So
yeah, it's 7 races left.
Yeah, that's going to be very hard to make up that point. So you're going to need some luck from people having issues. And
their points are like 77, like 74, 71, right?
Yeah, they go down like it's similar to that.
They go down by 3, and then they drop to 2 after the top 5 or the top 10.
Top 10, yeah. So I mean, you're going to have to need. There's 7 races left. You're going to have to beat your opponent by about 10 spots. Yeah. So I mean, yeah. I mean, it's going to be tough to do because you're going to have to really set the world on fire.
Yeah, and I would say I used to like people would ask me who's going to win the Big 12 basketball championship, the regular season championship, and I'd say like I just pick against Kansas until they lose because some year they're going to lose, and it turned into me just saying, well, I did that for 6 years in a row. Like I'll just pick Kansas because they're bound to keep winning it until they lose it. And I'd have more confidence in Brad, but I don't think he's been finishing at the top spots that he needs to be to beat. Sorry, I can't talk today. I can't talk ever, so that's no surprise to anybody. But the top finishes to beat Rico, and Rico's had it, and he had it with Reitzel, even though he lost to him that night. He was there, and then the next night he beat him. So,
yeah.
So, do you remember looking back to that Bridgeport race from last year? I think Rico won. I could be wrong. I remember it being a banger, though.
Was that during the summer or is that during the fall?
That's a good question. I just saw a clip of it.
I wonder if this is like a makeup race from the summer.
It could be, but they're going to Path
Valley. Not. Yeah.
On
Sunday? The Outlaws are going to Pennsylvania here next weekend, so I mean it's not. It could definitely be because I mean the Midwest stops racing by this weekend. It seems like so.
Yeah.
Shout out to Mutt Dog with the comment that Huddy owned Knoxville Saturday. He definitely did. Definitely won some money.
I want to say thanks to JoJo.
Yeah, JoJo.
He said, "Love him or hate him, Gravel is a badass driver." He is.
Yeah, Rico's pretty good too, buddy.
Rico beat Larson by about a second.
So that must have been in the summer because Larson doesn't do races during the playoffs. So that must be So he must do. This must have been a rain makeup race this coming up here.
It could be, but they race at Path Valley on Sunday. So, and I don't know if they moved this from there. It doesn't. I'm not complaining about my race pass here, but if you guys ever put like moved to, you don't even need to put a date. Just make sure it's back on the same schedule later.
Yeah, unless you look like you're
it there.
Seeing races for about 4 weeks from now.
I don't know if it gets deleted or not. I think it got deleted though. Oh, this one says rain out at Florence.
They have a tough job though.
Royal, Utica. It's tough formatting.
Because they
I don't even know, like the stuff I suggest like that, I don't even know if it's possible. I'm just suggesting it.
You're trying to make race fans happy at using an app, and that's like impossible to do.
I don't believe it's a postponed race. I think this was.
I do miss my race monitor though for lap times.
My race pass has made so many gains the last 2 years that I don't miss it anymore. But when we had it, it was so nice. It was the quickest. There's so much information.
Just seeing the time, the little your name pop up in the little blue when you cross the timing line. I mean, that's the badass part. So you get that like real life data.
Yeah, there was so much information on that app too.
Yeah,
that just made it simple. And
the fun part was just watching qualifying and watching times and all that stuff. So just sitting there after you qualify.
That was fun for you?
Yeah. Especially
I know
during the
other
Pro
drivers
Series.
where it's not very fun most of the time. Yeah, that's true.
No,
And
one
you guys were always
on
qualifying
poles.
against an invert,
Yeah.
right?
One in a lot of polls. So
You guys were always qualifying against an invert too, right?
yeah, 6 was the standard.
Because anytime I showed up, you'd get the pole, and I'd be like, "You idiot! Just like qualify a nice little 4th and like start higher up. Come on."
No, it doesn't matter. Qualifying matters in Knoxville. Heat races don't.
Hey, you still ended up winning plenty of races. I think Jake Henders passed you though. Like someday we're gonna get you back.
I know.
Just to pass him back.
Stelzer and Jake Kinder, and I think Klein maybe has. I don't know. It was close.
I haven't checked it in a hot minute.
I think Eric Arnold updates it after every season, so I don't know if it's updated or not.
We'll see. Hey, guys, let us know if you got questions. Gravel's not here yet, but we're just going to keep filling stuff in. I think I'm just going to talk about Bridger's glory days.
We can talk about something else.
I figured you won't want to talk about it. Did you hear on the NASCAR broadcast that Lee Diffie was insinuating that Kyle Larson isn't focused until the end of the Knoxville Nationals?
Say that again. Focus what?
Diffie was. I'll talk about it next week. Just remind me. Gravel just got here, so I don't want to keep him waiting.
Cool. Yeah, we don't want to wait.
And I don't want him that small either. We'll get there.
Yeah.
No. There's 3. There we go.
What's going on, guys?
How's it going? Thanks for taking the time, man.
Yeah, no problem at all. You want me vertical or horizontal?
Vertical works great.
All right.
As long as you can hear us and we can hear you, which is perfect.
Yes, sir. I can hear you guys.
So I joined right now by a super special guest, reigning and defending World of Outlaws series champion. Hey, when did that finally set in for you after winning your first title? How cool is it to hear?
Definitely really cool. I don't know, it never truly sinks in, I feel. Just like winning the Knoxville Nationals, certain things remind you of it, but it is fulfilling, but you always want to do more and win more, You look at the history and all right, Brad's won 5 of the titles, or Donnie's won 10, or Steve's won 20, right? So it's like one's cool, but how many guys have won multiple championships? You guys got like Lasowski and Jason Myers, and then you want to try to get above those guys. So it's just, it's cool. It's something I've been striving for, and to get the King's Royal last year, to kind of check all those boxes. Super, super fulfilling, and I'm just truly blessed.
So, David, you had a badass finish to the weekend at Tulare on Saturday, winning by just the nose over Spencer Basin. And right at the end of your Dirt Vision interview, you told the crowd, all those people booing, they can suck it for sure. And you've kind of turned into a bit of a villain in sprint car racing. And I asked you during the Knoxville Nationals, and I'm reading something you said, so it shouldn't come as a surprise, but you said, I don't really see myself as a villain. I'm just doing what I do. Sometimes shit happens along the way, and I'm going to speak my mind. I'm going to speak the way I feel and go as fast as I can and win as many races as I can. And I very respectfully, I love that quote from you. I think it's really cool, but I think you're leaning into the villain thing now.
Yeah, I mean, people are giving me layups for it, but, Tulare was a really unique situation where, we're in victory lane on the grandstand side on a platform, and literally 5 to 10 feet away from the platform is fans or photographers all right there. And there was a bunch of, people talking smack. There's this one big dude there that was just screaming, but he was saying derogatory stuff, but, after he said it, he's like, giggling with his buddy like it's funny, and he's just messing around. So I feel like half the people just do it to go along with everybody else, and the other half maybe truly don't like me. But obviously in California, there's going to be a lot of Kyle Larson fans, so that's a lot of the Kyle Larson effect there. But I mean, it's one of those things, man. I know I'm one of the cleaner racers out there. Nobody's as clean as, say, Donnie Schatz, but second to him, I feel like I'm one of the cleanest guys out there. And Yeah, I mean, when you come to a World of Outlaw race, I feel like the World of Outlaw champion should have some respect. And I feel like when I used to race, when Steve Kinzer was around me, I made sure I did things to not piss him off because we would hear about it. So I feel like we've kind of lost that in today's racing and gotten really soft. And, I don't know, I'm just not going to let people push me around and just let it happen. No matter if I'm friends with you or not, I'm going to let you know that I'm not happy about it. If that makes me a crybaby, then it is what it is. But you watch Dale Earnhardt, you watch Tony Stewart, you watch all these guys. They've been very vocal with a lot of things over their careers, and it's just part of racing. But I know popularity wise, if the World of Outlaws make a post or if I make a post, we're getting like hundreds of comments on everything. So I know this is making the sport grow. That's for sure.
I love that you know that because that's exactly what you should know at this time. So I was covering Iowa State football and something kind of similar happened where the football coach, Matt Campbell, coming out of the game against Ohio that they lost, he was getting chirped by some random fan and he kind of charged at him and had to be held back. How hard is it to hold yourself back and not go after the middle-aged guys chirping from the stands after they've had a few too many beers?
Well, if you just, see the video we posted, it was kind of a raw clip of guy dropping the F-bomb at us and, Cody just giggling and we're all just kind of laughing about it. And, it's funny what happened at Eldora, me going places or whatever, like nobody's come up to me and has really said anything. So I feel like it just kind of part of the fun. If you're in a crowd at a college football game or an NFL game and you're talking crap, right? It just, people get excited and say stuff. So, it's been fun sometimes, other times it's not. Like to me, I'll take crap, but only so much. And, and I'll let my results do the talking on the racetrack.
I always say we need more mic drop moments in sprint car racing. And I think you've gotten me to say it less and less because you deliver and you deliver very well with that. But you posted some shirts the other day that said Golden Boy on them with the World of Outlaws logo. I want you to kind of go into that. And are you going to have those available to buy?
So that was all my idea, and it was more of a joke. As of right now, we don't plan on printing them, but I felt like it was a perfect time to post that. And, people, say I'm copying this or that, but it was literally just a post to stir people up. And while you got that momentum and a lot of eyes on you and you got all the trolls in your comment section or DMs, I felt like it was a perfect time to do it. So as of now, no. I got my breast cancer shirts coming up in October that I do every year and donate $5 from each sale of a shirt to a family battling cancer. So I don't want to take the thunder away from that. And I don't know if I get a crazy amount of people saying they want them, maybe I would, but it was just more for fun.
I love it. Is the car going to be pink again?
No, I wish we would do a pink car one day. Maybe one day I'll convince Taylor that we could actually do it.
No, I love it. I think you're at the top of your game from driving to the social media stuff to everything Toby helps you with. Sorry, I was thinking of Rico's guy.
Carter, it's all right.
Carter, thank you. God, I'm sorry to Carter when you see this. My bad, buddy.
Yeah.
Too many things going on in my head, and I'm a bit sick right now. Closing out the season, you got the lead on Buddy Kofoid by 150 points. It's comfortable, but I'm sure I should probably ask you, how intently do you look at the standings for the last 10 races of the year here?
Yeah, I mean, sadly, I'm not going to lie. I look at them every week after every race. I do the math on where I need to be. Last year, I think Carson was under 100 for majority of the season and at the end of the year. I think we, maybe went down to Charlotte with a 60-point lead or something like that, somewhere around there. So, man, it's a bummer because our two issues with this year, blowing an engine, which was a complete just part failure in Wisconsin, and then the other week there in California when we had that tire deal, and a couple of bolts broke on our beadlock ring, and something must have hit it or it dug a bunch of dirt out of the racetrack and bowed the beadlock ring out, and that's where it leaked out at. And we were 3-4 tenths of a second of the race being over, if the yellow is called just a touch later and Buddy crosses the finish line, the race is over. Johnny actually announced the incorrect rule that 2 people have to cross the finish line, but for the checkered flag to end the race, it's only 1. And per the transponders, Buddy did not cross the line before timing and scoring hit the yellow. So we were a couple tenths away of running probably 5th or 6th with a flat tire, and said run 17th. So I wish those 2 things didn't happen, and we'd be very comfortable. But that's racing sometimes, and all you could do is go out the next night and try to do your best. And we ran 2nd, and then we won here the following night. So we're a resilient team, and we're going to continue to do our best and try to put W's in the win column. And there's still a lot of, we got 17,000 to win this weekend at Millstream. Sharon's a track we've been really, really good at. And then Williams Grove, we haven't won a national open here in the 2 car. So that would be really cool to get one of those. And, after, New Egypt and Lincoln will be a tough weekend. And then after that, I think it'll be a little bit more relaxed. But these next 3 weeks, we're definitely focused on, and hopefully we can continue doing what we're doing. And, I think from there, we'll have a picture of how the season's going to end.
Eric, you got a racing one for David?
Hey, David, I was just wondering, you mentioned about being one of the cleanest drivers in the Outlaw Tour. Have you thought that the racing the last 2 or 3 years has definitely changed a lot, where more aggression has been in the racing, either dirty moves, dirty sliders, that type of thing in the outlaw racing?
I would say it's more aggressive than it's ever been. The pace is faster than it's ever been. Back when I raced, in the 89G and was dabbling with the Outlaws, you had Craig Delansky that was really aggressive. You had Kerry Madsen that was really aggressive. But I felt like, Steve, Danny Lasowski, you had, Craig Kinzer. You had more guys that were, I would say, more methodical, or less guys that were, banging off the wall. Paul McMahon. I thought Joey Saldana later in his career wasn't a thrill seeker, but he was in the prime of his career, I thought. But he kind of slowed down to more of a methodical racer. So I just think truly what has changed our sport is outlaw kart racing turning into midget racing, and the midget racing has kind of turned into wing sprint car racing. You look at, Rico, Thorson, Larson, that kind of driving style, that kind of mold, Buddy Kofoid, Macedo, kind of the California way of life is we've gotten swarmed with a lot of talented California racers. And I think that's just how the West Coast guys race, were bred racing. They looked up to, really aggressive drivers, maybe like Tim Kading, that were super aggressive. And you got the Ohio guys that race completely different. And PA, Macri and Dietrich will throw sliders at each other and fight each other and talk shit. But, I say it's pretty diverse. But I felt like Lance DeWeese races the right way, methodical racer. Most of the time I would say Freddie Raymer, everybody is guilty of racing overly aggressive or doing bad moves sometimes, right? It's just part of our sport. But I think, that's the thing to do right now is just be ultra aggressive. And I think our tires a little bit and the way we race, we got to kind of slide and run the cushion quite a bit. Very rarely, could you float the middle or run the bottom as good as you used to? And just look at Knoxville. I mean, Knoxville has kind of turned into a top dominant track, for the Knoxville Nationals. A lot of times, this year they had a really wet bottom. So 1 and 2 was good on the bottom. But I would say here in the past couple of years, it's been very, very fast and dominant on the top.
David, you mentioned a few of the hotbeds out there. Which one would you say, and it might be none of them, it might be somewhere else with you being from Connecticut, but where would you say you learned how to, or kind of molded your driving style the most compared to what it is today?
Yeah, so I came from quarter midget racing. So I don't know why, but I think quarter midget racers have blossomed into good qualifiers. And I feel like quarter midget racing, you're always taught to arc your corner and not have a shallow entry and have a good exit, where I say guys like Shane Stewart were one of the first guys that would just slide almost every corner at Knoxville and somehow could carry speed. And you see guys like Ryan Timms doing that, and Corey Day, and Larson, right? Like, so that is just like the opposite of how I was taught to race at a young age. Like, other quarter midget racers are like Paul McMahon and Darren Pittman. And I feel like you don't see those guys race that way. And not that anything is right or wrong, but just a completely different breed and different style of racing. Like, my opinion, Brad Sweet is really uncomfortable going low and slow in corners. Like, he won't slow down and hit the bottom. He's a guy that's always kind of rolling momentum or roll the middle. And Donnie's kind of like that as well. Like, very rarely, in my opinion, does Donnie just slow down, parking at the bottom and try to squirt off, kind of like what like Jacob Allen would do. Or I feel like I'll be put in the bottom sometimes as well. But yeah, everybody just kind of has their different styles. And, it's hard to pinpoint exactly what your question was, and I kind of got lost there. But yeah, I mean, I would say California is aggressive, and then, Knoxville, that's a completely different style of racing. And Ohio is just dirty, slick tracks, and Pennsylvania has a mixed bag. And, you got some guys that only go to the short tracks and some guys that only go to the big tracks. And, guys like Macri really thrive against those guys.
Yeah, and then I think this is the last racing one. We got a couple more for you, but you answered it perfectly fine. And I'm asking every driver this that comes on our show. What's one rule that you think needs changing or that you would change? And if you have a solution on how to change it, that'd be great too. But one rule that you would change for the World of Outlaws for 2026, unless, of course, High Limit comes in with a swooping offer for you. I'm not
that's tough, but I think we need to start adapting replay or being able to change a call. I feel like we have the technology to do it. We have multiple camera angles. We have drone shots. We have multiple scorers in the booth. I think, my situation a couple weeks ago, Sheldon's situation at Grand Forks, probably Brad's situation when he was didn't go to the scales at Butler. I feel like that debacle they had last year, I think, with Kyle saying that, he didn't see the flag or the white or whatever. There's been some situations here. Sheldon's situation couldn't be fixed because they didn't throw the caution at all, right? The race was over. So at that point, there's no fixing. A replay doesn't change any of that. But I'm not sure why a caution wasn't called, say, by an official in the infield or whatever, and say if it was 4 laps late and Sheldon was 4 laps down. In my opinion, the right thing to do in that situation is to put him on the lead lap. Obviously, you're not going to give him a spot back. There's no blend rule on that deal. But at least you put him on the lead lap and he has an opportunity to go forward in the event, not finish dead last. I feel like in our situation at California there that, it was announced that Buddy crossed the finish line and there was 2 cars. And then also they called me for passing before the cone on the front stretch and docked me 2 spots. And they said on the scoring loop that I was, past the 21 car of Baston before. They said I was in front of him before crossing the cone, and they didn't have any proof other than having the timing and scoring. But the cone could be 10 feet to the left or 10 feet to the right of the scoring loop, and the drone died. So they didn't have the angle of the drone. They had some crappy angle from turn 1 that you couldn't even see where the cone was and exactly where we were at. So, I felt like that situation, you could prove things or go back and change it and make it right, because you could go back to the previous lap, like with Buddy, right? Say if they got that wrong, that they thought the rule was one thing and it was not another, and that race was over when Buddy crossed the line. If you go back to timing and scoring the previous lap, the rule would be Buddy crossed the line, and wherever anybody was running the previous lap, that's where everybody scored, and that's the race. And if that was the correct call, in my opinion, the World of Outlaws should be able to reverse the call, and they know what the call should be because they have the proof with timing and scoring. So I feel like once the Outlaws make a call or do something, they know they can't do anything or go back to fix it or make it better. And it's just like, oh, my bad. And I feel like when you make a mistake, I feel like sometimes you got to make it right and not just say, oh, man, well, I'm sorry about that. There's nothing we can do. I feel like it's 2025, going to be 2026. You know, we're challenging balls and strikes in baseball, and there's imaginary, or you could tell, you know, if it's a first down or not by this technology they have. I know we're not going to have that type of technology, but they've been doing replay assists or replays or reviews in football for 20 years. You know what I mean? So I feel like we should be able to do some of that to make some of these situations right, because I'm sure across the country, a lot of teams and drivers are probably getting screwed at some point with bad calls. And I feel like, you know, not all of them are fixable, but I feel like some are.
I love that. And, you know, you'd think if you were the golden boy, they'd just give you the benefit of the doubt every time.
Yeah, they wouldn't have docked me those 2 spots, and they could have said Buddy crossed the line, but they did not either. So that was 2 opportunities for them to say, give me a pass there, and neither happened.
Go for it, Eric.
Hey, David, this is a fun question there. Kind of wrap this up. How's the sports car card collection? Is it going pretty solid, or is it more of an off-season thing?
Yeah, so that's kind of my thing I try to do during the week when I got nothing going on. I'm on the road and not flying home and kind of busy. Try to go to Walmarts and Targets and stuff like that. And, a fan gave me 2 Tom Brady rookie cards. I got those graded, and they came back an 8 and a 9, which was awesome. So that was super cool of a fan to do that. But fans have brought me some boxes from some retail stores, and man, sadly to say, I collected Pokemon when I was younger, and it is the hottest thing in the world right now, and it's got me hooked doing that as well. So I would say Pokemon is the number 1 thing that I'm buying right now, and then second would be football, and then my buddy back home has been collecting baseball, and I bought probably 5 or 6 boxes of baseball stuff. But like, I don't know if you've seen articles, they're like, man, Pokemon's outperforming the S&P 500 and stuff like that. And again, I collected it when I was a kid. And right now I'm just in the process of, like, I went through my whole collection and then just weighed, all right, should I grade these things or not? And then get rid of the stuff that's worthless, like donate it or give it to Goodwill or bring it to a local card shop. So just trying to shrink down my collection. But I bought a lot of stuff this summer, and I've been going to my local card shop and dropping off stuff to get graded every week, which is not too many, but it's fun. I like doing it. I've been a collector of things my whole life, and right now this is what's taking a lot of my time.
Is the allure of Pokemon really just the athletes can't get canceled? That's how it was explained to me. Like, Pikachu's not dropping the wrong word on the wrong podcast anytime soon.
Well, they can't get injured either. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They can't blow an ACL. They can't, have a bad accident off the track like Henry Ruggs, or, you know what I mean? Like, do these crazy things. But I just think it's so hard to get. If I told you go to 5 stores tomorrow, go to, $3 stores, go to a Walmart, a Target, a Barnes and Noble, a Best Buy, a GameStop, and is there actually Pokemon cards on the shelf? And you'll probably go to 10 places and maybe 1 or 2 will actually have them on the shelves. So it's so hard to get, so that when you do get it, you feel like you've already won, and you could open it and get absolutely nothing, obviously, or you could keep it sealed, So it's I think it's more of a game. It's fun. It's not easy. Like, every time I go to Target or Walmart, the football, basketball, baseball is full, so it's a bad thing if you're a kid, right? And you want something and your parents literally can't get it for you. I mean, you got to be on Discord channels and follow pages that say, hey, this restocked, or go online right now. If it restocks online on Target or Walmart, it is sold out within 3 minutes. It's absolutely insane right now. And I'm not sure why, but it's kind of like not a business to me, but it's like playing with the stock market almost.
It's definitely the Wild Wild West, that's for sure.
I've got I think I got a 101 Davey Allison. I'm not into it anymore. I'll watch some of the King of the Cards videos on Instagram and stuff that pops up, and it still interests me. But yeah, I got a 101 sitting in the basement right now that I need to get graded at some point because it's a cool card.
Yeah, heck yeah. I had some fans bring me some NASCAR stuff this year, and I went to a couple card shows last off season and plan to go to a bunch this off season for sure. And I definitely want to, I've accumulated a lot of stuff, and I want to shrink the collection down and keep the stuff that I want to keep forever. So I think I'm going to try to go to some card shows this year and set up a booth and try it out. It's going to take me a while to be prepared to do that, but I would like to try to do it once or twice.
Do you know if you had a trading card out there from one of the NASCAR rides you had?
I don't believe so, but obviously the World of Outlaws dropped that trading card deal at Knoxville, and then they're coming out with Series 2 very soon. I don't know when they're going to drop it, but it's going to drop again here before the end of the year. And the first one sold out really fast, and there's just a demand for that. It's odd to me because I feel like merchandise and t-shirt sales are a little bit down because I feel like people don't have the money they've had in the past. Just expensive to live and what it costs to go to a race. And people are still collecting things though, and it's I think it brings joy and happiness, and you work hard, and it's something to look forward to collect, and it's kind of like a task or something you're trying to check off the list. So yeah, it's been popular and really cool to see. And hopefully one day we get World of Outlaws trading cards in Walmarts and Targets, just like any other sport. For sure.
Eric, you got anything else?
I'm all good. Appreciate it.
All right, that'll wrap it up, guys. Thanks a ton for tuning in. Thanks to David for coming on. Really appreciate y'all listening, and can't wait to see you guys this weekend.
Thank you. That was easy.
Yeah, absolutely.